Hey guys, Noah Carey here of Pearl Lemon, and on this episode of Pearl Lemon Meet the Team, I talked to Federica, who is our HR Success Manager. We just had a great conversation, all right? Here it is, and I hope you guys enjoy. Yeah, so the first question I usually like to ask my guests when they come on the show is
Mhm.
like just pretty simply like what is it that you do for Pearl Lemon? What is your job at Pearl Lemon?
Yeah, so my role at Perlemon is HR Success Manager. So that means that I am in charge of making sure that everything progresses well. So everything happens in the team, as well as everything that is needed from each team member. So that was my main role when I first joined Perlemon. Then I was also involved in recruitment since the beginning, because of course that is just easily part of the same task, more or less. So
Okay,
that's
so
my main
yes.
task.
So when you say like you're making sure everything's going smoothly, like what does that mean? Like, are you? I notice you often check in with people and see how things are going, but like, what are kind of some of like your day-to-day things to make sure that the company's running smoothly with all the interns and everything?
Yeah, I have a feeling that some people may not know what's behind all of this. So that's actually a good question. What I do is basically kind of building company processes. So that could be from deciding how a process should be for a specific task, or even building training for a specific job role, or even just to organize things. So if there's something that everyone is working on, and let's say we need to store all information in one place, I would be building that. I would decide, okay, everyone should, let's say, record a loom rather than, I don't know, write and do a specific thing. I'm not sure if it makes sense, but more or less it's about creating training courses, giving instructions, and similar stuff.
Yeah,
It seems simple, but it actually takes a lot of time and
no,
thinking.
yeah, no, it sounds complicated because yeah, it seems like everything. So what's an example of a process or a training course that you've helped create?
Well, for example, at the beginning, when I first joined Perlemon, there were so many unspoken rules. So let's say that we were supposed to use the WhatsApp group chat in one, just in a specific way. You need to share some specific information with the team in that specific moment. And then let's say every time something happens, you have to take action. So there are so many things that I decided to put all together, and I created what I called the Perlemon Interns Toolkit. So whatever, it's the toolkit course that we use to make sure that everything in the same place. So let's say you need to get in contact with someone, you need someone's contact details. You're gonna go there and find it there. Okay, they tell you, hey, you need to send out your virtual calendar link to book a call with a client. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Okay, you find it in the toolkit. And it's all very important explanation in there. This is an example.
Gotcha. Well, I'm really glad you made that toolkit because that was super helpful, especially I remember like when I first started. So I'm very glad I didn't have to deal with the unwritten rules because of you. So thank you.
Yeah, I keep updating that because, of course, it's always about optimizing things and tools and explanation. So that's
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, definitely. It seems like you're constantly still working on that. And I'm assuming too, I mean, because I did some training for my specific position, which is content writer. So I'm sure, have you been involved in creating more specific courses for the specific positions too?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, when it's really specific to the job position, I have an overview on all job roles, but I may not know exactly how to deal with something specific. So I may need help with someone that is working in the field, and together we can put up the training. Usually, I am more involved in optimizing that and adding things up because there may be important resources or new explanation that are shared every now and then. So then I am the person that uploads them and put them in the correct place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It just what I'm getting from this is you really like the backbone of this company right now, and you're making sure everyone's
Yeah,
staying afloat.
a level of administrative tasks, if you can call them so. So
Yeah. Do you enjoy that kind of work? Do you enjoy like the administrative tasks and putting these things together?
yeah. It's actually quite enjoyable because I like having an overview on everything that happens. Another thing I do is redistributing tasks. So if there's someone that feels overwhelmed because there's too much work to do, I'm like, okay, you come to me and you say what you need to do. You give me instructions. I'm like, okay, I'll find someone that I know has the skills and the time to do that. So that's also good because I am able to kind of manage the workload among everyone. And yeah, why not? Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're really very involved. You also mentioned recruitment earlier. So do you want to talk a little about that too, like what you do for recruitment?
Yeah, It's actually an interesting process at Per Lemon. Like I've had many applicants telling me, "Wow, I've had fun," because we say, "Okay, you may be scared when you see that our application form is quite unusual. It's quite
Yeah.
long. It asks you to do a few things like recording a video introduction, replying to not weird questions, but like we ask about, let's say, internet speed and other well, so many things that people are like, okay, maybe why are you asking me this?" It's actually interesting because it really shows that if someone goes until the end of the application form, they're really interested in getting the job role. So it's about the work attitude, you know?
Okay, I didn't know that
And
because yeah, I went through those forms too, and some of the questions I thought were just kind of like for fun, like get to know you. But I didn't really realize I had that purpose at the end to check to
yeah,
see if they actually get through all that. That's interesting.
there are many reasons why we have built it like this. And also, people may think that the resume, the CV, is the most important part of it. Actually, the video introduction is really key for us to hire someone. We want to see someone that is enthusiastic about what they're going to do, someone that is really keen on learning, you know? So
Gotcha. It makes sense why you guys hired me because I don't know if my resume was too great going in, but I guess I pulled through in the other areas.
it's all good. You probably compensate with your video introduction.
Oh, I guess so. Hopefully it was good. I'll have to go back. I don't even know if that exists still. I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, I'm sure I can find it. I think I hired you, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
no, you
hiring
were
you.
like the first person
Yeah,
I talked to, and like you like interviewed me and stuff.
yeah,
Um, so it's kind of like now it's funny because now I'm interviewing you. You know, it's kind of like we
yeah,
turn the
exactly,
tables
exactly.
here. It was a really funny story. I don't think I ever told you this when you first started interviewing me, and like when you reached out to me and all that. Like I was and like right now I'm in New York, which is like the northeastern part of the U.S. for some
Mm-hmm.
geographical context. At the time, I was in Boulder, Colorado, so like the other side of the country. So I wasn't at
All
home,
right.
and I applied to Pearl Lemon just because I saw it and like looked interesting, not thinking I was going to get it because I was getting rejected from everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, and my friend's like, hey, like this weekend, like you want to go to my cabin? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we went to his cabin. It was like 5 hours away. This like obscure town, and it's called Del Norte. And it was, you know, it was his house, and then like a mile and a half before the next house. It was like kind of one of those areas. And
Okay.
so we're out there, and there was Wi-Fi, but it wasn't great. And then I get an email or message from you like, hey, like we liked your application. Do you want to do an interview? And I'm like, meanwhile, like we're about to go in his dune buggy, and I get this message from you like, can you do now? And I'm like, yeah, I can do it now. So I like, guys, like, hold on, I gotta interview for this job. So then I'm like sending voice notes with you on WhatsApp, and my friend's like bunk bed, hoping the Wi-Fi like sends the voice notes to you, so I don't like get rejected because I'm not responding. So I'm going through this interview with you. Meanwhile, like, yeah, I'm like in this obscure town, middle of nowhere. And you're like, all right, cool. Like, can you write a test piece about like Shopify SEO? And I'm like, yeah. And I had no idea what Shopify was. I had zero clue. And I'm like, yeah, I got this. So like my friends, they're all like doing this stuff, and we're all like, going on his dune buggies, and like we all run a lot, so running. And meanwhile, I'm trying to write this Shopify guide over the weekend with not great Wi-Fi, and somehow I managed to do it and send it in. But that was that weekend. In case you're wondering what I was doing.
Wow, I can only imagine how stressful that must be, because I know how it feels when the Wi-Fi is not working in the wrong moment, especially if you were not at your place and maybe you didn't really know how to manage that. Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah,
I think, wow, you did great. You see, it's about the work attitude. It's about really wanting something, you know, and you
exactly.
impressed me, so you got it.
All right, I'm glad I'm impressed. Yeah, because I was close to a point just being like, you know what, Federica, I don't even know what Shopify is. I probably shouldn't be writing this, but I was like, what's the worst that can happen? If I send it in and they hate it, then like, all right, I didn't. It's whatever. So
Exactly.
glad it worked out though.
It's really something that at Prolemo we do all the time. There's nothing impossible, no problem, only challenges, and you can do it. You try and you learn from there.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Speaking of stories, do you have any like interesting stories from any like hiring process or anything that you want to share? I feel like there's got to be something interesting.
well,
And we might not be able to reveal it. I don't know.
I've seen so many things, to be honest, so that I've been surprised. It's like you see so many different people, so many different attitudes, so many different ideas to impress. Because some people think, okay, I have the time to prepare this, so I'm just going to write something and read it. Usually, that is like not the best impression because we like spontaneity. We like people that are like normal, you know. We are
Yeah.
very informal, friendly, so that was we actually appreciate. I also had some crazy kind of video resume that was supposed to be like super funny, so people were dressing up or other people were just telling the story of their life, and I'm like, okay, maybe
A whole
get to the
production.
point. Like, okay, I enjoy it, but get to the point. I mean, it's super interesting. It's people management. You see a lot about people, and what was surprising is when you see one person, you have an idea, and then when you meet them, you're like, when you meet them, you're like, okay, I was expecting you to be different, but that's a
Yeah.
surprise, and the best part as well.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially with the remote aspect, because you're kind of just getting like emails from them, and then yeah, you get in a video call or whatever from them, and just totally different
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
expectation. I feel like I had that same experience with you because when I first started talking to you, not having seen you, you just had this like sense of like maturity and like I don't know, like where I thought you were gonna be a lot older than I don't know, like I don't know why I just thought she's probably like in her late 30s or 40s. I think part of it was like HR manager. I just had this
Wow.
expectation of like, and like you're still like you're obviously really good at your job. And I just was like, she's just wow, she just seems to know so much and is like really good at her job and has a sense of maturity. So I was shocked when I found out how young you were. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but
Oh, well, I hope so. I don't know, but
I mean it as a compliment. It's supposed to be a nice thing. Like, oh, like
okay.
you're so good at your job. I don't know.
Well, then I'm happy that I can actually give a good impression. So thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. So yeah, so we talked about recruitment and all your managing process and all that. But like, what's your like day to day? Like, take me through like a day of Federica at Pro Lemons. Like, you wake up and you're like, all right, I'm going to start doing Pro Lemon stuff. So, like, what might you be doing on a particular day?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a typical day, like nowadays, like in this period, because things happen and change so quickly that at the beginning maybe it wasn't like this, but now that I'm more involved with tasks and with lots of stuff happening, the idea is that I get up, I write my start of the day message when I list out what I'm going to do. Sometimes I
Okay,
even put anything that comes up because I already know that whatever is on the list, it's not going to happen entirely or not in that way that I would want. So
gotcha.
usually I start checking my emails. I see what's most urgent, what would take longer. I would leave it like for afterwards. I just kind of set up a priority and then I start working on that. Usually when I finish checking emails, or maybe I would just go back to the list of things I was expected to do, then someone just reaches out to me about, hey, I don't know how to do that. Okay, sure, I can just go in and find the training for you. I'll send it to you. Hey, can you just give this person that information? Can you go there? So there are so many things that happen between what I want to do, what I have to do that comes up maybe from the previous night, and from other people maybe asking me for the day. I don't know if it makes sense, but it's a mix of things that happen.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense. Yeah. So,
it's really about responding to whatever comes up all the time,
okay,
besides
gotcha.
taking like further whatever I was building or working on.
Yeah, so it sounds like your day changes a lot throughout even the day. Like, it doesn't end up being the
Yes.
same as from when it starts, which I think is a little different from my position because I'm one of the writers. So I usually, all right, I have deadlines for these like assignments. So I kind of know, all right, I'm going to be writing this throughout the day. And yeah, sometimes I
Hmm.
get thrown new things, but I think that'd be hard for me to be like doing one thing and all of a sudden, oh, I got to go do this now and oh, this and not have it planned out. So that's definitely different. I'm very impressed that you're able to
Yeah,
stay
I've heard.
sane.
Yeah, I heard different people saying, "Hey, I've been trying to be focused on one task only because that's how you are more productive." I'm like, okay, I'll try to do the same. Not
No,
possible.
just
Possible.
doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, you cannot like deal with the most urgent things, you know. So
Yeah.
then it's also about, okay, check. I need to hire someone. Okay, go there and check. Okay, I need to post about that job ad. While you write that, maybe you need to reply to another person, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. No, that's impressive that you're able to like adapt so quickly. And I feel like I get
yeah,
like one email a day where I'm like, God, they're asking me to do this and I wasn't planning to do it. Oh my God, can I do it? So I'm impressed you're able to just adapt so quickly.
yeah. It comes with time and practice, like everything. So
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
uh,
Yeah, just all right. I guess I'll have people throw new tasks at me and just get used to that in practice, just changing my day up randomly.
yeah,
But you
it's
also
good and
mentioned
bad.
that, yeah. You also mentioned that like things have changed so much since you've started. So like, what are some big changes that have happened over your time with Pearl Lemon?
Well, at the beginning, we were less than 10 people. So it was really surprising when I joined the team. We were just a few people. And of course, I was new to HR and we were hiring, but not as many people. Now we are well, almost 30 people. So we are usually around 25 people in the team. And every now and then we may want to hire someone new for this new position, or let's change direction and find a position, a job role that we've never had. So let's build content for that. Let's understand what the company needs are. So really, this was the part that made things change a lot more. I didn't mention that before, but apart from HR, was also working on lead generation. It was not continuously, so it was just for a period, then I stopped, and then now I'm doing it again. So the idea was that when I was working on HR, it was mostly about creating stuff, and then lead generation was about reacting to stuff. Because lead generation is to find potential leads. So you have someone reaching out to you. At the beginning, when I was working on HR, I was creating stuff rather than having people come to me. Now that I have more, let's say, I'm managing more what's happening in the company, then people come more to me. Gotcha. You know, that's also like my role, and now I'm managing more stuff rather than before.
Okay, that makes sense. What were you doing specifically with lead generation? Like, what tasks were you doing with that?
Well, we use LinkedIn to find potential customer for our services. I was working for Chemistry, which is our partner company that has this service for traders. And so basically, traders who invest in Forex may want to use this tool that makes all investments automatic, sort of. So I was supposed to find leads for that. And this was about sending out messages and saying, hey, are you possibly interested in that? If so, I would like to connect you with my colleague. And that's why I talked about reacting. So people replying, and then I was just replying to them accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. Did you like lead generation? Is that something you enjoy doing?
Yeah. At the beginning, it was a bit tough because it wasn't really clear, the process, how to do that, how to manage it. I wasn't really good at sales. I improved with time, with practice. I know I still have a lot to learn in that field, definitely. But because it's not as complicated to just put in practice all these processes, it was actually enjoyable. Then it's also about optimizing your strategy. So.
Yeah. Are you going to do more with lead generation, you're saying? Like, you think you're going to try to do more with that?
Yes. Yeah. I'm now doing this again for ProLemon Academy. So it's something I am trying to do. And of course, it's a different perspective, but the process is always the same. So I'm happy that I'm doing this for something new.
Gotcha. Well, this is also part of that. This is part of ProLemon Academy. So you're helping. We're really building this up right now. Speaking of change. So how long have you been with ProLemon? When did you start with?
I've started in at the end of June, more or less, or mid-June. So it's been 4 months, more or less.
Gotcha. But so you also had a previous stint with ProLemon, right? A couple of years ago, is that right?
Yes, correct.
So how did that work out? Like, how did you end up discovering ProLemon in the first place back, 2018 or whenever that was? And then what led you to being there, leaving, and then coming back again?
Yeah, so I found out about ProLemon thanks to Deepak's partner, Daniela. And I was just looking for a working experience at the time. It was 2018, so I was 21. And I happened to talk to Deepak, and he was like, you know what, you can just come and see what I do, and I'll get you involved with some things with ProLemon. At the time, ProLemon was so different from what it is now. Now it's
I can imagine.
Like it's so big, everything is so developed, everything is so structured as well. At the time, of course, there were so many things happening, but the people that were probably interning at ProLemon were helping where and when needed. So that was the idea. I'm like, I don't care. I need to do something practical. And it's like, sure, you can do that. So at the beginning, it was as simple as just learning how to use a laptop. So learning shortcuts, learning how to use tools. Because at ProLemon, we use so many tools, so many things that make our life easier. And that was impressive, life-changing. Then I went to London for a month, and I was actually working with Deepak. And it's something that Deepak mentions quite often. We was working from Costa Coffee. And that was the idea. We were meeting at Costa Coffee, just sitting one in front of the other one. talking,
All right.
and sometimes I was just like shadowing him. Sometimes I was like, it was telling me, hey, can you do that? I'm like, sure. If I had any problems, it was just easier. Hey, can you help me? And then I also saw how he managed clients. That was impressive. It was one of the first time I actually saw, a client meeting, and that was super, super useful, and a learning experience,
Gotcha. Yeah, it sounds like one of those things where when they make a documentary about Pearl Lemon one day, they're like, yeah, it started here at Costa Coffee. Here's where I met with Federica every
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but you're in Italy, but so you went out to London for a month to be able to meet with Dee and all that?
Yeah.
Were you also like meeting with him remotely while you were in Italy too? Like, were you talking to him, or was it
Yeah.
just that month?
Yeah, I also continued working with him after I went back to Italy, and we agreed on working. At the beginning, it was more as needed. When I was in London, I was needed every day, so I was meeting him every day. Then when I went back to Italy, it was mostly okay. When I need you, you're going to work on this project or on the other one, and then at some point we decided to set just a set amount of hours, and I was communicating with him like normally, WhatsApp, emails. I'm not sure if that's what you're wondering, but yeah, we
Yeah, I was
were
just
working
curious. Like,
remotely. Yeah.
yeah. And then how long did that last for? How long were you guys working like that?
Well, quite a few months. I'm not really sure. I think like 6 months, but it's not
Okay.
like working every day on
Yeah.
something. It was just when needed. So it probably feels shorter. It was over time. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Then I've
Yes.
also worked on like translations and something like that because they wanted to build the website in Italian. So I was like, okay,
Okay.
you can do that. So
Yeah. Do you know Italian and English, which is I think is super impressive because I can't learn it. I tried learning another language like in school. My Spanish was horrible. That's a whole other story. Like, do you know any other languages just out of curiosity, or is it just English and Italian?
yeah, I actually speak 4 languages fluently.
Really?
Yeah,
What
yeah, yeah, yeah.
languages?
Well, I speak Italian and English, as you said, and then French and Spanish. Uh,
Really? Okay. That's real cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually graduated in languages, international languages for business and tourism. So it's something that I kept studying. Even in high school, I was studying languages, and it's been my passion forever. So
Gotcha. That's really cool. So were you just taking classes with that in high school and college? Is that how you got good at all
yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
languages?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, both in high school and university, that's the path I chose because you can pick a specialization. So that's the idea. And I
Gotcha.
also lived abroad quite often. So,
Where did you live abroad besides like
well,
Italy and then London?
well, yeah, Italy and London. But when I was in high school, I got the chance to spend like a month or so with school in France. And that
Okay.
was just for a month, but it really changed my level of French. I swear that from there I improved a lot. Then at university I lived, well, the first year I was in Italy, second year I was in France again, and third year I went to the Netherlands.
Okay.
And besides that, every now and then I was spending like I also lived in Brighton, in the UK,
Gotcha.
and of course I traveled. But yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's so
mostly where
cool.
I've been. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've been to, I live in the United States. I think I've been to Canada a few times and like Mexico once. I haven't really got a chance to really travel a lot. So I'm very jealous that you got to go to
Well,
all those countries in Europe.
places are so far in the US, so it's quite normal to not really have the chance to explore. But I know that there are cheaper flights to go to Europe rather than to fly around the US or even to Canada. Is that true?
I don't know. I never really looked up flight prices to Europe because that's never even been like, and I've never been like, oh, I'm going to check out prices because I have the opportunity to go. I don't know. So
Uh,
it makes sense though, because I've heard travel in Europe is easier just because it's, I mean, yeah, the continent is so much smaller compared to the US. So I can see
yeah,
that. And also it's like easier with passports, I think, with you guys and with like,
definitely. In the European Union, definitely, it's way, way easier. Like
yeah,
with
like there's
my,
a, go
sorry,
ahead. No, no, you go.
uh, my like until 21 I only stayed in Europe, and the longest flight I was in, it was like 3 hours, and I know for you 3 hours so it's quite like a normal flight. So when I was 21 I went to Canada, so out of Europe for the first time, and being on a 8-hour flight was like, wow, that's so unusual. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think a
yeah,
flight, because I've been to like, so I'm on the East Coast. California is like the very west coast of the US. So that flight, I think going out west is like 5 or 6 hours or so,
yeah, exactly.
depending on tailwind and stuff. I'm not sure the exact number, but yeah. So like, yeah, traveling within the U.S. is a lot longer than Europe, I guess.
Yes, yeah. So that's why I understand you may not really have the chance to explore much. Well, it's still the US probably. So
Yeah, that's why like a lot of people I know when they go to Europe, they don't just go to like Spain. They'll go hit up everything and do a little drive through of all the countries to see everything.
yeah. Also because
So
you don't need to take a flight, you can even just go by train, by bus. We have so many
yeah,
options. If you have a car, you can rent a car.
yeah. So I'll have to get out there sometime.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. I also low key wish I knew you freshman year of college because I could have used some help in Spanish class. Let me tell you, it was not.
Wow.
I think they passed me out of pity. I'm not even like. I think
No,
they're
come
like
on.
I think they're like, you know what, like he's kind of trying, and we don't want to keep him making him retake this. Well, we'll give him the B minus, and we'll go through.
Well, it's all about practice, you know. So if you want to, I don't know, learn it again or try to remember what you know already, feel free to ask me to practice. I'm really, really happy to help you
Okay,
with that. Yeah,
yeah, because I might actually have to take you up on that because I don't
sure.
know.
I'm so happy. Yeah,
Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, I think because we mentioned too, like when you got to go to France, it just helped your French. Like I think that's one of those things. And part of it was me being stubborn, but I'm just like, yeah, like in the classroom, 50 minutes, like 3 or 4 days a week. I'm just like, I'm not going to learn an entire language
yeah.
without going home and practicing it a ton. But like my family doesn't speak Spanish, so I'm not going to speak. I don't know. Part of it was just me being stubborn, but I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to experience it, and it's hard to just in a classroom getting cold called. It was, never had cold called. It wasn't pretty.
Oh gosh, like I feel like in class, we're not motivated enough sometimes, because if you are really like doing like the activity you like, you may also want to try it. But I understand if you were like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna learn, I'm just gonna forget everything, then it's a different feeling.
Yeah. I think yeah, again, I think part of it was just when things are forced on you, yeah, it's harder to want to. So I'm in
Exactly.
college and I'm like, I've been taking Spanish for 6 years. I haven't learned it. I'm literally just gonna be taking it just for the sake of taking it because they tell me to. I really don't want to, and it was, yeah, especially because I took it for 6 years, and like from I think sixth grade till my senior year of high school, so like 6 years.
Hmm.
And
Quite a lot.
yeah, you think I'd be good, but whatever.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Um, I was like, see, by senior year, I was okay enough where I could, like, because we went to, I think when I went to Mexico, I was able to like communicate. I wasn't, fluent and having conversations, but if I needed directions, I could somewhat communicate. But then, they had you take this placement test to going into college because you had to there's 4 levels of either, in my case, Spanish. So you had to get to the 4th level. So like, all right, we're gonna have you take a test so you can figure out where you're gonna start. Level 1 being like no Spanish experience, level 4 being solid. So you had to get to level 4. So I took it hoping I would get to maybe like, level 2 or 3, just so I don't have to take 4. I tested into beginner level Spanish. They're like, yeah, you're gonna take level 1. And I'm like, this can't be right. I've been taking Spanish for 6 years. There's no way I'm starting with colors again. I can't do it.
Oh no, like all over again. It must
Yeah.
be like so long. Did
Yeah.
you
So
actually take?
no, I emailed them and like, guys, like, I'm sorry I messed up this test, but is there any way? So they had me go in level 3, which should have been where I should be because about the first 3 quarters of it was stuff I learned before, just maybe different vocabulary. So
Mhm.
I should have been fine there. But for some reason, even though I learned it before, I was even worse in my freshman year than I
No.
was in college and high school. Because I think I took that long break. It was, that like long summer break.
Mhm.
And I just lost it all. It was so bad, but I
That's the
passed.
worst. You
And
passed.
yes, B
Oh
minus.
wow. Wow. Okay. Congrats. That's pretty good.
I, I don't think I deserve to pass, but you know what? I'm not going to complain.
It's good. It's okay. You accept it, and it's all good.
Yes. So
But yeah.
I don't know how we got to me almost failing Spanish, but we did. Um, Last question really about Pro I guess, because just to get somewhat back on topic.
Yeah.
So last question. So yeah, so you're with Pro in 2018 or so, and then you left. So if I can ask, like, why did you end up leaving, and then why did you end up coming back?
Yeah, there's no specific reason why I left Per Lemon other than I was just busier with my university, and it was my last year. I had to organize so much stuff, and I was studying, and then I was supposed to move abroad in a few months. So I'm like, okay, there's too much stuff and more I need to deal with. I don't want to do bad in everything, so I'll
Yes.
just need to give up on something. And I decided to put Per Lemon on hold. I wasn't really thinking about what I was going to do in the future, going back or not. I don't know. But yeah, this year I just happened to give it a go. I'm like, hey, Deepak, how is it going? And then you see, I'm
Yeah.
here.
No, that sounds very much like Deepak to be able to be like, "Hey, bro, what's up? Can you got a position for me?" And
Yeah,
I'm sure he was very happy to have you back.
definitely. Yeah.
And I'm very glad you came back because you've definitely made my program experience a lot better. Just helping
Yeah,
me out through
thank
things.
you. Thank you. It's so nice.
Yeah, that was just yeah. With our weekly team meetings, I feel like you're always so positive and like always asking questions and I don't know, carrying a conversation. So it's always I feel like it makes the weekly team meetings better when you're there.
Thank you. Wow, I really appreciate it. Wow, I'm so happy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm glad that makes you feel better. So, all right, enough about Pro Lemon. It's time to get to know Federica a little bit better. We've already gotten to know you a little bit too, with 4 languages, traveled a lot, went to school. So, I just have a few questions just to kind of get to know Federica a little bit. First thing, a very broad question. So, I hope this isn't too hard a question, but all right. So, what is like, if you're like to meet someone new, like, what's like the one thing they should know about you? Like, what's like one thing about Federica that you think people should know besides 4 languages? Because we already know that.
Okay. Something. That's actually a good question. I feel like I like that people know about me. It's not something that I need to say explicitly, I like that they realize it by themselves, that I am someone that really likes to take on challenges, learn new things. No, I'm not talking about work or anything like
Yeah.
academic or anything. It's about trying new things, like trying new activities. If you're like, hey, do you want to try this? Hey, do you want to go climb that mountain? I'm not gonna climb that mountain. I was like bad example. Do you want to go? I don't know, canoeing. Do you want to go ice skating? Do you want to go explore that area? I'm like, yes, sure, of course. Like, let's go. Yeah. So that's the idea.
Okay.
I want to.
So,
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you just love doing new things except for climbing mountains. All right, that's the one thing you just
Well,
won't do.
I'm a little bit afraid of heights, so I would love to try that. I actually climbed like in gyms when you can actually climb, but you're
Yeah.
not on a mountain. So I do that, but then I go
Okay.
up and I'm scared. I will still do that. Like, that's the thing. I'm scared, but I will still do it because I enjoy trying.
Okay, gotcha. That's kind of like me with roller coasters. I don't. They scare me. I don't like them, but I still do them because I feel like I need to. I don't know.
Exactly, because yeah, you wanna see how it goes, how it is.
I want you to hike. I want you to climb a mountain though. So let me know when you climb a mountain. All right. You say you like new things. I want you to do it. All right. So let me know as soon as you climb a mountain.
I'll take a picture and send it to you that
Okay.
day if I'm not
Good.
like too shocked by the experience.
All right. Good. I'm expecting it within a month or two. All right. That's your
Oh,
deadline.
I'm in lockdown.
That it doesn't surprise me just because I just feel like obviously you're talking about outside of work, but just from hearing you talk at meetings, you're always asking questions about things that you might not necessarily be involved with. But it's just interesting that somebody brings up something with a new website we're doing. You're like, oh, like what's this about? And you're just very curious and just I've always see you asking questions. I think that doesn't surprise me at all. It's really cool.
Yeah. I'm actually quite curious, and it's cool when you hear something you're like, well, I'm not following because I have no idea what that is. Like, why not asking it? It's like, it's something that I wish everyone should feel free to do. I'm not sure if, I don't know, sometimes other people are afraid to ask, but I'm like, okay, what happens if I ask? Nothing.
I
So.
think I just, at least in the team meetings, I just zone out. When people talk about things I'm not involved with, I'm just like, oh, they don't need me. I kind of just zone out a little bit. And I probably should be more involved because then you ask those questions. I'm like, wow, she's asking questions. Maybe I should be learning about it too.
Yeah, well, you get more engaged with what's happening, and then it's just to have an overview on everything.
Yeah.
You don't need to do something practical. I may not know everything, but at least an idea, because you never know.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right. My way is definitely not the way to do it. It's just, that's just what happens.
Oh well, yeah.
Um, and so, all right. So what other, like, do you have any other hobbies or like activities or things you like to do? I mean, you say besides like school, pro, I mean, what are some things I don't know, you like to do in your free time? Just curious.
Well, I really like walking in nature, and
Okay.
now that I have a 3-month-old puppy, I can take her out for walks. So I'm
The
really,
cutest
really
puppy
happy.
I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah, she's so beautiful, all black. I used to have a dog 2 years ago as well, and then of course she passed away. So now I have a new one after 2 years. So it's actually it's quite weird to have a dog again, but I'm
I can
so
imagine.
happy. Yeah, I'm so happy. And
So
she
you take
keeps
her for a lot of walks?
yeah. Well, not yet because she's too young. So we needed to wait a little bit, but now
Okay.
we're really looking forward. Also because she keeps us very active. So you can tell she's full of energy. She wants to go out. So it's time to
Yeah.
go out now. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. So are you going through the whole process of training her and, to
Yes.
sit and come and all that stuff? And
Yeah, yeah. And it's actually good because I'm working from home as well as my sister, and we have the time, well, not the time, well, the opportunity to take care of her, because otherwise, if we were not here, which was the plan, this was not going to be able to happen, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I don't think I can handle taking care of a dog right now, just because we have a dog at my house. It's my mom's dog, really, and like I love coming home and like spending time with him. But I'm just like the actual taking care of him. I don't know. I just don't think I could. I'm not at that point in my life. I'm not responsible enough yet, I think, to handle a dog. But I love dogs though.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. It's actually, it takes a lot of time and energy. So I'm really glad that we can help each other. So it's not only my sister and I, my parents as well. So every day it's like a little bit of time.
Yeah,
Everyone does something. So we help each other. So that's why it's doable. But also because I'm at home. If I were not working at home, then it's
gotcha.
definitely not possible with a puppy, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I even noticed the small things, like my dog's in my room the other day, and he unfortunately got a little sick and threw up in my room,
Oh,
and
wow.
I felt bad, but I'm like, oh, like I'm 21, I should be responsible, cleaning my own room and help a dog out. But I'm like, Mom, Charlie threw up my room. Can you clean it up? And I knew I should be the one cleaning it up. I asked her to do it because I just didn't want to deal with it. It was gross.
I know, I understand. I had to deal with that so many times because, it's either me or my sister. So it's like, okay, who's going to do that?
Yeah,
And
a
we're
little
like,
coin
oh, okay.
toss.
Yeah.
Before,
Oh, my.
did the power go off or?
Yeah, I cannot believe this. Okay.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah, the power went off. So I need to wait for someone to go and, oh gosh.
But the Wi-Fi still working though,
I'm not
clearly.
using Wi-Fi. I'm using my phone data.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's a good thing you didn't go on the Wi-Fi, because I know you mentioned that you might have Wi-Fi issues.
No, yeah, sorry, that makes sense. But yeah, I'm still here. But
There we
the
go.
oh my gosh, I cannot believe that something had to happen.
We were so close to. I was getting ready to wrap things up, and it's just maybe it was like fate telling us, all right, we got to cut this conversation off now. So that was my conversation with Federica. As you guys saw, we had a little bit of an issue there at the end with her power going out, but luckily we were able to pretty much get the entire conversation in, and I had a great time. Federica sounded like she did too, and I learned a lot about her. Hopefully you guys did too, and also what it's like to work at ProLemon. So yeah, and if you enjoyed that, be sure to go check out more of our videos at ProLemon Academy on YouTube, and stay tuned for more. We got episode 4 going to be coming out hopefully next week, and yeah, hopefully we'll be rolling these out once or twice a week. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more.